A visibly unwell and frail-looking Donald Trump just concluded a public event during a dinner at Windsor Palace. You can see him here in the carriage. Take a look at his face. He appears pale and sickly as he is transported in the ornate golden carriage to the palace. Here he is with the royal family and also in a newly released photo alongside the Prime Minister during his state visit. Can we zoom in on Trump's hand for a moment? It looks alarming. As I have said before, it resembles something that's been submerged in a piranha tank. His hands, his hands appear to be deteriorating, almost rotting before our eyes. It's a serious and troubling sight. Trump looked weak and unwell throughout the evening, especially during his public speech at Windsor Palace. Massive protests were held in Western, with even larger demonstration reported in London. I will show you that footage shortly. During his speech, Trump struggled notability to read the teleprompter and bizarrely claimed as if he were the first US president to visit the United Kingdom. As thought, no American leader had even set foot in Windsor Palace before. I am the first person to ever be here, he said. Let's play the clip.
It's a singular privilege to be the first American president welcomed here. And if you think about it, it's a lot of presidents, and this was the second state visit, and that's the first, and maybe that's going to be the last time. I hope it is, actually. But this is truly one of the highest honors of my life. Such respect for you and such respect for your country.
Then Trump starts talking about shaking people's hands. Frankly, after seeing the condition of his own, that might not have been the best move. He says, I stood in line and shook about 150 hands, but let's be clear, that's not why his hand looks the way it does. It's not from the handshake marathon. It's look disturbingly unhealthy, almost rotting. Trump then goes to say, the king knew every book's name. Well, yes, that's generally what people do in formal setting. Then learn and remember names. That concept might be foreign to Trump, whose one referred to the Prime Minister of Japan as Mr. Japan and casually called the CEO of Toyota and Honda, whichever the company name. Some people actually take the time to learn who they are speaking to Donald. Anyway, here's the clip.
I'll tell you that I just stood in line and shook about 150 hands. And the king knew every single person and every single company, and some of them had bad names like XYZ-Q3, and he knew every one of them, or at least I think he did, because nobody was complaining. I was very impressed with that.
Then Donald Trump launches into one of his usual rants. But before we even get to that, just take a look at the room. The entire setting is such a turn deep display, and it's not just a bad look for the United States. It reflects poorly on the UK as well, at the time when so many people are struggling to afford basic necessities, when families cannot buy groceries, when people are living paycheck to paycheck under the immense physiological stress, when access to the housing and health care is increasing out of reach. This is the sun, gold plated palace, golden carriage, and lavish dinner. It feels completely disconnected from the reality most people are living in. Take a look at this room for a moment. Then Trump says, we are the hottest country right now. No, we are not. Not even close. America is arguably at one of its weakest points in the modern history, socially, politically, and economically. The disconnect in the statement is staring. Anyway, here's the clip.
The bond of kinship and identity between America and the United Kingdom is priceless and eternal. It's irreplaceable and unbreakable. And we are, as a country, as you know, doing unbelievably well. We had a very sick country 1 year ago, and today I believe we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, nobody's even questioning it, but we owe so much of that to you and the footing that you gave us when we started.
Then Donald Trump starts talking about how we must defend the exceptional heritage that defines who we are, and how we need to focus on the English speaking world. Okay. But if you truly believe that, Donald, then why are you letting Putin do whatever he wants without consequences? Their rhetoric does not match their reality. Anyway, play this clip.
Together, we've done more good for humanity than any two countries in all of history. Together, we must defend the exceptional heritage that makes us who we are, and we must continue to stand for the values and the people of the English-speaking world, and we do indeed stand for that.
Then Donald Trump randomly started listing off names of authors seemingly without context, and if you look closely, you can see Melania in the background. The whole scene is just strange. Play this clip.
Perfected in the pages of Shakespeare and Dickens, and Tolkien, Lewis, Orwell, and Kipling. Incredible people, unbelievable people like we have rarely seen before, probably won't see again.
Let's take a look at what's happening over in Parliament Square, London. Protesters have gathered, and at one point they are even tossing around JD Vance themed balls. It's quite the scene. Go ahead and roll the clip of the London protest. Let's take a look.
This is not how I envisaged this going. I mean, it's not, try and keep it away from the cameras, people. So, backwards, there we go. Let's pop that down there. We don't want JD Vance, that's right, that's absolutely correct. Listen, we have incredible...
Turn the sound up for this part. This is from the Trump Not Welcome protest march. Shout out to Rhythm of the Resistance for leading the drumming section. You can also spot some of those mini angry baby Trump balloons floating around the crowd. Take a look right there. Check out some of the look-alikes featured in the protest. You have got Trump, JD Vance, Nigel Farage, Putin, and even Elon Musk all represented. It's part of the Stop Trump protest happening in London. Let's roll the clip. Here's another scene. Crowds have gathered in central London to protest Donald Trump. Let's play the footage. This is how Sky News reporting to the Stop the Trump Coalition solid reporting. Let's play the clip.
Well, they're loud, they're proud, and they're certainly trying to drown out all the pageantry that's happening at Windsor, Mark. But I'm not sure if they're doing a good job at it or not, really. I mean, a lot of the people here have not been watching those gorgeous opulent pictures from Windsor. Instead, they have been focused very much on making their voices of opposition heard. I mean, it's a real mixture in the crowd today. We've seen people carrying Ukrainian flags, people with Palestinian flags, people that have got banners that cite that, that infamous relationship between the predator Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, an image that he, of course, would rather not be showcased today. But frankly, whilst all eyes have been on Windsor, it's been very hard, in a sense, to ignore the voices of the people here today. The crowd, you're right, estimated to be thought about 5,000 in size. It's not the last time that there was a state visit for Donald Trump in 2019, where the crowds packed out Trafalgar Square, where we saw that giant blimp of Donald Trump lifted above the crowd. It's thought the crowd, the numbers there were nearing 100,000. So perhaps organisers might be a little disappointed in the numbers that have turned out. However, there is currently behind me in Parliament Square a huge rally with people, speakers on stage, voicing their thoughts regarding this visit. You know, they've talked to me about how they feel as though the flattery is farcical, how the pomp and the pageantry should have been saved for someone that deserves it. Some of those people voicing their idea of saying they feel sick at the sight of, King Charles and the Queen next to Donald Trump, and the visit and the rolling out of the red carpet is not sitting well with some, in direct contrast, as Mark Stone said there, to the pro-Trump supporters that you've seen down in Windsor. There have been pockets of support for him because there are a huge number of people who do want him here. More than 40% of people during an attitude survey of Donald Trump's visit over the weekend do actually want this state visit to go ahead.
Next, King Charles delivered his part of the speech, mentioning golf and how British soil is particularly well suited for the game. Let's play the clip.
Mr. President, you have spoken of your pride in your British roots. In fact, not only have you set foot on British soil twice in the last 2 months alone, but I understand that British soil makes for rather splendid golf courses.
King Charles spoke about the strong ties between the United States and UK, even sharing that at one point the media speculated about him being married to a nation. Here, play this clip.
And over 20 visits since that time, I have cherished the close ties between the British and American people. In fact, had the media succeeded in the 1970s in their own attempt at deepening the special relationship, I myself might have been married off within the Nixon family.
Meanwhile, while all this was happening in the House of Representatives, Kash Patel claimed he was not sure whether Trump was mentioned in the Epstein file once 1,000 times or even 10,000 times. It was the serious hearing with Patel, who's Trump former FBI director. At the same time, Republicans moved quickly to block a motion by a Democrat congressman to subpoena suspicious activity reports related Assange and Ghislaine Maxwell. They did not even let her finish reading the motion before trying to shut it down. Play this clip.
John Lady, state the motion.
Okay. Pursuant to Clause 2K6 of Rule 11, I move that the committee subpoena U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent to produce or otherwise make available to the committee all suspicious activity reports in the possession of the Treasury Department, identifying the roughly $1.5 billion in suspicious transactions.
California is recognized.
I move to lay the motion on the table.
The motion is not debatable.
I didn't finish.
She hadn't completed the motion. Is it proper to cut it off before it's completed, Mr. Chairman?
Finish your last sentence there. The gentlelady can finish.
Okay, so we're asking them to identify the roughly $1.5 billion in suspicious transactions related to the sex trafficking crimes of Epstein, Maxwell, and their co-conspirators. And as we know, Mr. Patel said that the Treasury might have that
lay the motion
information.
on the table.
Yep. The motion is not debatable. The question occurs on the motion to table. Those in favor say.
While Donald Trump rides around a golden carriage, the latest Yogo Economist poll reveals that the only 20% of the adults in the United States believe the economy is improving. Take a look at here its stark contrast. Here's Trump enjoying his ride in the lavish golden carriage at Windsor Palace, a display funded by both UK and American taxpayers. Let's play the clip.
In any event, the main objective is pageantry. Apparently, the president told the pool press who were flying with him overnight yesterday, enjoy yourselves, okay? He said he was really, really, really looking forward to this. He said it's going to be a beautiful event. Now you can hear the British national anthem playing as the carriages continue to move towards, eventually, Windsor Castle. And then they're going to have a lunch. And then there's going to be more pageantry. The president and the first lady will lay a wreath on the tomb of Queen Elizabeth II, who the president really, really appreciated. He met her twice here, one an official state visit, which was at Buckingham Palace, and then a later visit here to Windsor Castle. This is the first time there's been this kind of major state visit for an American president at Windsor Castle. Usually they're in London at Buckingham Palace and, they go up the mall. But certainly Windsor Village has been decked out with the Stars and Stripes and the Union Jack. And so as much pageantry as they can muster without the usual people involved is happening right now.
And here he is, by the way, breaking protocol by walking in front of King Charles. Despite that, Donald Trump is seen inspecting the guard of honor alongside the king. Let's play the clip. Let me show you what the people of the London and the UK more broadly really think about Donald Trump. Many see allowing a convicted felon into a British soil as a total disgrace. I agree. It's disgraceful that he is even in the United States. Let's play the clip.
I don't want to be here. I feel like I have to be here because Keir Starmer's made a massive mistake in letting a convicted felon, they actually convicted him in his country, and we're letting him come on British soil. And it's a total disgrace. It's disgusting.
I think it's an absolute waste of taxpayer money. Already millions of pounds were spent to keep him safe last time, and it's really just for show. I mean, this is just because he's a Royals watcher, and they're just going to, his wife's going to go see the doll museum and the Scouts.
I mean, there's a lot of emphasis, of course, that the state visit is going to bring about a trade deal.
I think it's really unclear exactly what our politicians and our monarchy intend to do with this visit, if there's some diplomatic ideas behind it, but I don't think it's sending a great message.
He changes his mind as often as he changes his diaper, as far as I can see. He could say what a wonderful visit he's had, and then 2 minutes later, he's going to say something else. Neville Chamberlain tried to appease Hitler, and history showed how that worked out. Appeasement is not the answer. There will not be peace in our time while Trump is the president of America.
And finally, we have learned that following Donald Trump visit, the Times report the United Kingdom will move to recognize a Palestinian state. This decision comes not because of Trump's visit, but simply because it's right thing to do. Recognizing a Palestinian state is a necessary step, and it's clear that Donald Trump was opposed to it.